Hey there, and welcome back to the Second Lunch Podcast. We have a very special guest today. Cole, you want to introduce our guest?
Yeah, please welcome Justin Barnes. I'm giving some time for applause that won't come in. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and Justin, I don't know how much you can share about your job and everything, but am I allowed to share your day job on the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Producer on Brock and Salk, right? So
Yes, in fact, that is changing.
Oh, really?
So I have been doing the Brock and Salk show for 3 years, almost exactly. I think yesterday is my anniversary.
Oh, nice.
Or today. But I'm now switching into like a digital role within the Seattle sports brand. So when I started, it was 710 ESPN Seattle, and then switched over about a year into, well, not even that long, a little over a year, maybe less than a year into it, called Seattle Sports now.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of are positioning ourselves as more than just a radio station. So
Oh, cool.
We're growing our digital footprint in big ways, and that's the role that I'm now going to be moving into. So it's going to be the first time I've done like an off-air role since I was like 19 years old.
Oh, very cool.
Which is crazy, dude. It's going to be really hard to get used to.
Yeah.
Because I'm like just used to that, like plug it, like turning on at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then like when your show is up, it's like, okay, let's go back to regular
You're just
life.
going to be behind a screen like, I got stuff to say.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think that. Like, I'm not going to have that itch to scratch. I think it's just going to be more of a workflow thing, because you're just used to your show starts at this time, your show's over at this time,
Right.
and that's it. Like, whatever you don't get in that 4 hours or 5 or whatever your show length is like you just don't get to. Maybe you get to it tomorrow, maybe you don't. But now it's like I have unlimited things to do, and I need to figure out what it's like to have a real adult job behind it, which is something I've never done.
Yeah.
So but Seattle Sports, Brock and Salk, it's been a blast, and I love those guys, and they've been very good to me.
Nice. Very cool.
Do you like having, I mean, that's a dumb question. I shouldn't say do you like having a job in sports, because obviously that's everybody's dream.
It's a dumb question.
But does it ever stress you out watching something? You're like, oh, fuck, we're going to have to talk about this
100%.
now.
Yes.
Like, you can't even, I feel like I
Yes.
wouldn't really be able to
Yes,
enjoy
yes,
things.
and
the
yes.
same
It's
way.
hard. The same way I would imagine, like, I mean, you guys working in comedy, like, you appreciate those things differently when you have done it professionally, or when you're trying to think of, like, how would I do this, or what pivot would I make, or how am I going to respond to this? Because that was the gig, right? Like, you watch every game, Seahawks game, Mariners game, whatever it was, you have to talk about it the next day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how am I going to do this in a way that is going to inform, educate, and entertain at the same time? Which entertainment radio is what I worked in for like 15 years before I got into the sports side. So like that's where my brain went first, is like, how can we make this funny? And it's like, it's not. People are legitimately upset, or it's not always like, how do we make this
Big
funny?
feelings.
Yeah, seriously, that's a really good way of explaining it. Like, these are, fanatics are fanatics. Like, that's what a fan is. And it's hard. It's a weird way. Like, when sports become your job, you definitely watch them and consume them in different ways.
Do you feel like you have to be really careful to not disparage certain people? Like, I know in Green Bay, I'm a big Packer fan. It was, how can we twist this negativity about Aaron Rodgers to make it look like he's not a bad guy?
So what's the question? Do I find it hard to
Do you ever have you found yourself, like, say Russell Wilson was not a perfect man, but I felt like he was maybe portrayed in the media that way. Did you ever feel like you had to twist for certain guys?
No. Well, for the Russell Wilson one specifically, when I got to 710, he was it was sort of the end of his time there. So that I think the conversation and maybe the tides kind of turned on him a little bit. Me personally, no, that wasn't my role. My role wasn't to be a hot take person, or come in with some super different opinion on someone. As the producer, my job is to support the opinions that exist with evidence, right? Like, the reason they're saying that is because this happened, and I need to show and provide context to it. So I guess another way of answering the question, though, is, do I consider, how do I tiptoe around some things when I want to? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And part of that comes from, like, me. I'm the kind of person who, like, enjoys being friends with people. And, like, I like being friendly and being liked the same way everyone does, right? It's like survival of the friendliest in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you decide to take an edge on something, or like pick a hill to die on, you better be willing. Like, anything that we were told this when I first started, anything you say on the air at any point about anyone, you better be willing to say to their face if you ever meet them.
Right.
And that is where I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to take
Good
a
vibes only.
hard. Yeah, dude. And it's like, that's just kind of the way I've been. I don't really find a whole lot of room for that. That's not obviously everybody's take. There's some people who have made a career on being being a villain or a heel or who are willing
Really?
to take
like
a turn.
Everyone
Yeah,
on
who?
ESPN.
Yeah.
On the big network.
That wasn't me. I work with a lot of people though who do that is a job, right?
Yeah.
And people want to hear that.
Oh, that would stress me out.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing is, and this is a radio thing, and maybe this is a little too inside, but if you ever listen to like morning radio, there's a phrase that people use to describe the roles on the show, and it's are you guys allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
big time. Yeah,
Okay,
go
okay.
for it.
Well, it's not really a swear word; it's just a way to explain it. Like the way, if especially a 3-person show, it's like there's the dick, the dork, and the deer. And so there's always somebody who's going to be like the jerk, right?
Yeah.
There's always somebody who's going to be like the goofy, I don't know, this is whatever. And then there's always the like, come on, like let's relax, right? And those hats change depending on the conversation, depending on the day, depending whatever it is. So fortunately, I never really positioned myself where I got to be the jerk, and I didn't want to because that's not me as a person, and it wouldn't come across as authentic if I decided to try to be. Maybe there are times that it did, and I can't remember them, but just wasn't my
Yeah,
wasn't
it
my,
wasn't what you
my
were
speed.
aiming for.
Right.
No, that wasn't what I was going for.
Yeah, when you mentioned the, having to say something to somebody's face, I think about Brian Scalabrine and the Scallenge, where, he was like the worst player in the NBA, or played, the fewest minutes, kind of like a human victory cigar, but he's still in the NBA. So
Yeah.
people would talk shit on the internet, and then he would, so there was a challenge that was on, TV where I think if you beat him in one-on-one, you got like 10 grand or something. But of course, no one did. He's
No
like
one did.
6'10",
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got a pretty good 3. Like,
Right, yeah.
it's
People
just
are,
not going to happen.
People are pretty tough behind keyboards and phones.
Yeah.
I fell victim to exactly this. I was talking some shit about Luke Wilson dropping everything. I'll say it to his face again. And I was tweeting a lot, not thinking he was going to see them. Anyway, he was on
they
a
do.
morning show, and this is when the Packers and Seahawks were in the NFC Championship game. So,
2014.
yep, don't want to talk about it. And
Tough
they
day
were
for
like,
you?
"Hey,
Which part specifically
won
was the
some-
worst for that?
was
Was it the fake field goal? Was it the 2-point? Was it the onside
Probably
kick?
you leaving the
Anytime
stadium.
John Ryan is doing something like that to you, that hurts.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
That hurt.
Okay,
dude.
so you were
That
tweeting.
really
It's
hurt.
the NFC. Yeah. go on.
And the radio station's like, "Hey, you won some tickets to the NFC Championship game." So I'm like, "Hell yeah!" Going in my Brett Favre jersey.
Oh wow.
Retrospect, maybe not the best choice, but I
You
go
were
in
getting
and
tickets,
Luke
not
Wilson's
welfare.
there,
Oh.
and they're like, "Hey, we saw these tweets that you were tweeting at Luke Wilson. Well, we thought it would be great if you'd read them to him over the air."
Man.
So anyway, we don't need to go too far down this rabbit hole. He was extremely nice.
Yeah, of course, as
So
yes.
annoying. Like,
Yeah.
I wish he could have just been an asshole.
Yeah.
and-
You
It'd be
could
a
have
lot
felt more
easier.
justified.
would have made me exactly. But yeah, he was super cool. And anyway, there's a video on YouTube. Of it
Awesome.
somewhere. If anybody wants to see it. So
That's real. That's real.
it was real painful.
That game was nuts. I remember that game well. I bet you do too.
Try not to.
I was there, and it was the worst. Anyway, no, we're not going there. We're staying positive. Good vibes only.
Yes.
Good vibes.
Well, this question probably doesn't fit that mantra particularly well, but because I was going to start with, what is the worst fan base?
Oh.
And this was, we can keep it to baseball, or, we can expand it a bit.
It's
but-
obviously the Niners. So after the Niners,
I have a couple. For me, I think I don't know if we were going to get to this at all, but I grew up in a little town in Montana, and so we about 2,000 people, right? And so it wasn't like we had a lot in that, especially a sports team, to like rally around or behind. And so all my friends kind of picked different teams, and that was just what I thought we did. Like,
That's cool.
my dad liked the Seahawks, my grandpa liked the Raiders, my best friend was a Lions fan, the girl I liked the Vikings, and I was just like, oh, everybody just picks a team.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, like, we don't have one. My whole state doesn't have one. It's not like I can really, offend anybody here.
Right.
So we're in Montana. You can be in bars as kids until like 9 or 10.
oh
I
yeah,
don't know if you still can, but you could.
love that.
And we were in this bar called the Caboose. It was literally a train car, and there was like a big poster on the wall that had the Monday Night Football matchups, and like the border of the poster had all the helmets. And so I think it was Seahawks and Raiders. I think that's why we were there. It's my dad, my grandpa were watching the game, and they're, like, who are you cheering for? And I'm like, well, I don't want to pick a side. So I just walked up. They're like, who do you like? And I just walked up to the poster and picked the Bengal helmet. So I'm a Bengals fan,
Okay.
which has been rough, aside from a couple seasons. But
Right,
it's been mostly rough my whole life.
Yeah.
So
Shout out
my-
to Sika was really cool.
he was a blast to watch. I guess my franchise, the team that I hate the most has been the Steelers fans, because I've always said that everywhere you go, man, Steelers fans are like a bad rash. They just will show up unexpectedly at any random time without provocation. Yeah. It's like you'll be. I was in the bathroom in New Orleans watching the Seahawks play the Saints once, and in walked 2 Steelers jerseys. I'm like, oh. How are you guys everywhere?
Who conjured
and why
you?
are you the worst? Why are you the worst? Steelers fans, I have grown to love and hate Blue Jays fans, mostly because of what that weekend
what that
turns
means for
into.
your job.
Yeah, it's fun though, because they're so fun, and they're just here to party.
Yeah,
right.
And they are largely very friendly fan
and pretty
base.
benign.
Yeah,
but it is so annoying to like go to your home stadium and have it not feel like a home game for your team, and we all know what that feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah, Niners fans are tough. I don't really enjoy them.
I feel that way about Cubs fans. They come up.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, well, it's the teams. It's the teams like the Cubs. It's the Braves. It's the Yankees. It's the Dodgers. It's the teams that, for those of us who grew up in places that didn't have a local regional sports network, we got WGN or we got Turner.
Yep.
So it was these kids that grew up with a team that they had no association with whatsoever, aside from watching them as little kids.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have big fan bases, and they're marketed well, and like that's also annoying to me. Like when you meet half of Kirkland are Yankees fans, and it's like, what?
Right?
Yeah,
right.
That's a good point on the Braves, because I do think that I saw more Braves baseball other than the Mariners than any team by a mile.
That's what made me
because
hate them. They're probably my second least favorite baseball
Braves,
team.
yeah.
it didn't help that they were very good when we were also
of course,
getting them in the
Smoltz and
90s.
whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh great, Maddox with a 91 pitch complete game.
Chipper Jones, yeah. I know.
I gotta go Eagles on this one. I think Eagles fans are terrible people.
Ooh.
Philly's
Actually, I think they do terrible things. I haven't ever encountered an Eagles fan I didn't like, so I guess I can't really say
True.
that.
I've only met some rad Eagles fans, and the Buckley's in Belltown. Shout out, that bar rules. They are an Eagles bar.
Oh,
So
I
I've
didn't realize
attended.
that.
Yeah, I've attended some very fun parties there. But those man, Philly fans are brutal. Like we all know this. Like they are.
expectations are high.
Yeah, and when they don't go their way, like it's the most brutal thing. But they're also the most entertaining. They're like watching them in a fishbowl is pretty funny.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's a great point.
So it's hard for me to say. I dislike Steelers fans. I think that is probably the top of my list.
Yeah, Vikings are up there for me too, but I actually really like Bears fans and Lions fans. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
How can you hate the?
that's what I got as a Bengals fan. It was like
Right.
nobody hates you, but they just feel bad for you. Like every time I would go to a Bengals game,
How are you?
Yeah, I would travel as a single Bengals fan. I would travel to a game, an away game, because I would do that once a year. I still do, and I get a lot of like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Like, not like, "What are you doing?" You're like, "You guys always beat us." Like, no, it's always a whole bunch of apologies. Like, that's have fun here, man. I hope you enjoy our city.
I'll get your beer.
Yeah, that happens a lot, which is not a bad thing. Like I advise anyone, throw a Bengals jersey on, you might get a free beer.
Oh, I've done that at Lambeau. Like when I was at the game, Russ threw 5 picks.
Oh man, that was tough.
And I was
The game he came back too early with the broken finger game.
maybe.
Was this recent?
This was at Lambeau in 2016, I think.
Oh, then never mind. I'm thinking of a much later game.
But yeah, I started sending Seahawks fans beers because I was like, I can't believe you guys are still here. This is amazing.
Yeah, that is impressive. Yeah. I think you guys have named all the fan bases I would name, except I got to throw Red Sox fans in there.
Oh, yeah. That's another one.
Yeah.
Like Niners,
And they-
it's like, well, of course.
Yeah, and they're
The New England.
similar to the Toronto. You know,
How much
It must be
I-
so hard for them. All they know is winning championships.
I know.
Like, oh, it's so rough for you.
here we are today, and they.
Celtics, Red Sox.
I don't really
Big
like how
job.
much they
Bruins.
love racism and bigotry, personally, but that's what drives me
That's a
nuts.
I'm glad
disqualifier.
that that's like the fourth thing we brought up, but yeah.
Jaron Duran having like the top jersey sale after he. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't need to go down that
Yeah.
road either.
But yeah, always dislike them, and they do make, similar to Toronto, the home games feel sort of like away games.
I don't even know if you need to say Red Sox. Can we say Boston, all encompassing?
That's what I'm saying. New
that's-
England, yeah, in general. I am looking forward, though, however, and you can move on after this. I am looking forward to watch the Netflix baseball show that was being filmed for the Red Sox this season. I think that's going to be fun.
Oh, I didn't
Oh,
even know that was
yeah, you
happening.
didn't?
Is
Oh,
it sort
yeah.
of like a Hard Knocks type
I think
thing?
more F1 style. I think they're
Oh,
getting
okay.
like
Oh, nice.
deeper into it than they
that's
are.
cool.
Yeah, than having the big narrator voice that Hard Knocks does. I think this is more of the F1 really following individuals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They've
Okay.
been doing that for NASCAR. It's also very cool.
Oh, it's
Nice.
good. I love that too. Yeah.
Okay, so actually, since I did want to ask also, favorite opposing fan base. Are there any fan bases that you have some appreciation for? Try to lessen the negativity here a little bit.
It's Bears for me. I love Bears fans.
Yeah, I don't. I think that is a fair and a safe answer because they're so. It's one of the originals, right? Like, I mean, the Packers too. Like, I
To
don't
repeatedly get punched in the face like that and still love
be obnoxious.
your
Yeah.
team. Oh
Yeah.
man, I respect it.
I think that's a pretty safe answer. I would also say, and this is because it was kids I grew up with, and the adult versions that I have met since then, Colts fans.
Yeah,
I had no problem
yeah.
with Colts fans. I
Yeah.
think they're pretty fun. The most fun group to party with, and this is from traveling to games, and it's not close, are Raiders fans.
I believe that. Yeah.
They are.
How much tequila is involved? That's been my experience with Raiders fans.
Yeah, dude, they are feral, and they are real. I'd say Raiders fans. I would also say in similar, I guess, same city for it was for a time. I just traveled for the first time to go see an Oakland A's game in Oakland.
Oh, nice.
I was like, well, I've never
You
seen
got
the
to take
Coliseum.
advantage, right?
Everybody, all 12 fans that were at that game were great.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the Coliseum? It's the worst thing I've
It's
ever
a
been in, I
toilet,
think.
but
Yeah.
it's and I bought one of the shirts, like the last dive, baseball's last dive bar, because it is,
That's great.
and it's like surrounded by like a river of garbage, and there's like the bridge you have to go over that's like all barbed wire. It's like, dude, is anybody trying to break into this place?
Yeah. Am I going into jail right now?
It feels that way.
Yeah,
It's a concrete.
It does. It
Yeah,
does.
it's awful, but I had so much fun there, and for the same reason, like it's so authentic.
Yeah.
There's
well, good
no
point.
faking the funk of either of those two fan
Yeah,
bases.
that's a good point.
Yeah, I just said the A's and the Raiders. I'm gonna go with those two.
Yeah, Raiders fans are fun. That was a good point.
Yeah.
That might take the cake for me. Well,
Yeah,
my
that
great
is.
uncle played for the Raiders. He won a Super Bowl with them. So I'll just drop
Bury the
Pete,
lead, that's
Pete
rad.
Banaszak sometimes around these people, and they're like, nobody else fucking knows. He was
Yeah.
a fullback in the 70s. Nobody fucking
Tight.
cares. But yeah, you drop one of those, and Raiders fans take care of you quick. Man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Madden. I think of Madden when I think of the Raiders.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Glory years. All right. Best T-Mobile Park food. Do you have a favorite?
Ooh, T-Mobile, and this isn't just because I spent so much time there and like I'm affiliated with it, but that stadium does food so well, and I think you all know this. The Wayback Crab Shack in center field, that crab sandwich is very good, very good.
I have not tried that.
The Area 206 Curry, which just moved in up in the like around section 137 or no 132 maybe, is really really good. That used to be Din Tai Fung. It's in that.
Oh, yeah,
spot
yeah.
there.
Oh, okay.
The Area 206 Curry, and I'm not a curry person. I've never liked it. I just decided to have it. It was fantastic. Would go with that, and I've been a sucker for garlic fries, but that's, I mean, the problem with you borrow that garlic for so long that I try to avoid.
Yeah.
Try to avoid. Now I think probably I've always liked the Hawaiian barbecue spot too. God, there's a lot. And obviously Moto Pizza now. Like there's so much. I probably eat more pizza there than anything else. So I guess I'm gonna have to answer is gonna be pizza.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I go hard on the Kid Valley, and I end up with the borrowed garlic.
Yeah.
And they're like kind of covering my mouth.
Oh,
if
yeah,
I'm
that's
too close
that's
to
the
somebody
problem.
while I'm talking.
Because I
'cause I'm not
spent
trying
for
to
so
breathe on
many
'em.
years, I would be in the pen. That was like my spot, and it still is. But I haven't been able to go there a lot as of late, and that was the problem. It's like I can't eat garlic fries and just be like shoulder to shoulder with people that I respect, like just emanating garlic. Like wow,
Yeah, it's always funny to me when people do like the work night out at T-Mobile Park because you're either gonna probably be drinking with your coworkers or you're gonna be smelling like vampire
That is
killer.
a unique hell.
yeah. Why I would strongly recommend if you're ever doing the work outing, do a day game.
Yeah,
Like do the matinee game. You get the day off work, and that way it's like probably pumps a couple of people's brakes to like go hard on either one of those things because it's daylight.
yeah, for sure. Because once it's 3:00, I'll do things like order a Long Island when we go to the happy hour, and then you get weird looks from the senior management when you do that. So
It's a bold choice.
yeah,
I respect it.
you got to tell people that was our drink at our wedding. That was our signature cocktail.
Strong
was
Island? Man, we are on the Ave. Like, have you guys ever done the Strong Island at Earl's?
No, we have not. We normally end up down at Supreme Pizza. That's normally the
Supreme's good.
post. Yeah.
But I was telling you guys before we started here, I used to live in an apartment up on 52nd and 11th. It was an absolute dumpster.
Yeah.
And we were in, I mean, it was just out of college, I guess. But it was cheap, and I was making no money at the time working in a different radio station, and my buddies that I was with were like doing internships out of college, so we were just broke.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, let's go to Earl's. Like, that's the only place where you're gonna like potentially see a knife fight, also eat some of the worst, greasiest food. You're gonna see some puke in a urinal, and you're gonna spend like $9 at this place, and you're gonna leave like supremely satisfied.
Yeah.
And so we used to have a standing rule: if you could drink 3 Strong Islands and walk home, you won the pot of change, the money in our apartment. No one could do it. 'Cause you had to get all the way home, like, and you had to have a witness, but without anything happening in between. Could never happen. That place was this was a survival of the fittest there for sure.
See, the smoke shop in Ballard has a strict 2 limit on the Long Island. You couldn't do the challenge. They would not, and they've never told me what infraction led to barring a 3rd Long Island. Because I was like, can I get like 8 shots? And they were like, oh yeah, whatever. They don't care about anything else you do
symbolic.
there. But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody committed a sin that just can't be unwashed.
Yeah, I mean, and this I'm sure is a rumor, but like I used to hear that Earls would just pay the fines every year for whatever infractions they had. They're like over serving, whatever. They're like, we don't care, dude. This is what we do. Like, we hurt people here.
I didn't know Earls was like the Rasheed Wallace of dive bars. Just like...
Earls was scary. There was a time that place was scary. I think it's changed a little bit. It's now like one of the Mariners. What do they call it? Bar Mariners. It's like, oh man. There's a term for it. It's like the bar club. They're like one of the affiliated bars. You can go watch
like
games.
an official team.
Yeah, why am I forgetting the name of it? But yeah,
right.
They're one of them.
Okay, that's surprising.
Things must have changed.
Yeah, right. How's your guys' PR doing
different.
lately?
It was different. Good time.
I do have to hit you with a question that Nick Kirshner fed me here, which is how do you feel about soccer?
Not a sport I watch.
That was very diplomatic.
Yeah, right. That's exactly.
Man, good vibes. I'm not like I'm a fan of any sport where I can go do this and spend 90 minutes or more with people who are excited to be there.
That's fair.
I'm not going to do that at home and watch that on TV.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to support a team.
Totally
like I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I'll go, but it's pretty far down on the depth chart of
yeah, things I want to see.
Yeah, things I want to see.
I've been to a Sounders game, and I was like, all right, yeah, this is impressive.
I've been to a ton.
I'm amazed by the running.
Oh, 100%.
Look at all that running.
There's nothing about the sport itself that I go like, this isn't a sport, except for the like embellishing on the flopping stuff, which has been
the worst
beat
sport.
to death. It's just like, man, I just don't. It's just not for me. It's the only thing my parents ever let me quit.
We get it.
It's like, yeah, I just don't think this is for me. My mom's like, yeah, it's okay if you want to do it. Anything else in my life, she's like, no, we're sticking through it. I'm like, oh, so you hate it too? Like, you
don't want to watch this either.
Oh, can you imagine how boring soccer is to watch? And then it's a bunch of little uncoordinated kids
swarming around a ball. Yeah.
Get me out of here.
Yep. So yeah, it's not for me.
Okay, and then we've got a few more sports questions here, but I gotta hit them. How do you feel about hecklers?
Hecklers at, well, I guess it would kind of depend.
We were focusing on like more the sports realm, and I guess what I was thinking when you wrote this question down, Chris, is like the people that hang out at the bullpen, the opposing bullpen at T-Mobile. Yeah. Like I would never personally.
I'll come out with
that.
the bad vibe, so you can just piggyback on them if you want to, or you can argue with me.
Yeah,
I despise it. There's nothing, and maybe it's because I've done stand up and I've dealt with hecklers before, and I'm like, I'm just trying to do my job, and you're ruining it. But it's the most selfish thing you can do. This isn't about you. Nobody paid the ticket price to come listen to you. We want to enjoy this in peace. You're being an asshole. Now there are some funny ones. I'll watch the video. What's that guy in? I think he's in San Francisco. It's like all positive heckles.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen that guy.
That's actually funny.
Yeah, and I like the wholesome ones where it's like, so and so eats pizza with a fork.
Yeah,
you know, like there's some that are like completely safe and fine.
Yeah.
But when and I've experienced this a lot being at like Edgar's or the Pen, when the people are like digging into their Wikipedia or social media history or like looking up exes or names
people
of their
do
family
that
members.
live at the
yeah. Oh, Reese McGuire would be such an easy one.
I never
That's a guy I
considered
would
that.
heckle, actually.
Yeah, and they're like their whole point is just to try to get in their head. In their minds, they're like, I'm like the 10th man. I'm a part of the team. I'm really getting this guy. It's like, yeah, sure you are, man. Like it's just all stuff he's never heard being as a professional athlete. So part of me is like, you paid your money to be here. If it's gonna affect the way that I am experiencing the game, then yeah, I hate it.
Yeah.
It's the same way I hate people like screaming every word to a song at a concert when they're behind me.
Yes.
Didn't come here to hear you, my dude.
Yeah.
But also, like, who am I to tell you can't enjoy yourself at a concert? Like, I don't know, double edged, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, at least in
strokes.
Seattle, because I have not had as lucky as an experience with hecklers as I have had here. They seem to stay in center field. Like, they're not really in your seats and like in your ear, so you can stay away from them. But yeah, when you're in the pen or something, trying to watch from there, and it seems to happen a lot.
Yeah, that used to be like, you got two people in the pen. You got like super fans who are really there to like scream and watch every pitch and be involved, and then you got the people who are there on like dates who didn't even know there was a game going on, and like you're trying to get through, and it's like, can I take that table that you're not watching the game from so I can watch the game? That's part of the charm of the pen, man. You never know what you're getting out there, and now there's a DJ at every game, so like it's definitely a different environment. I still dig it.
Yeah, I like to stand like above the pen and just watch what's like watching guys.
the main
watching
concourse
guys,
level.
watching guys fail to get laid is primo. I love.
It's a place for it.
You thought the Mariners struck out a lot.
Yeah, most of you guys are batting zeros. That's true. That's true.
Well, particularly after the garlic fries. Like already your game is diminished further than it already.
Yeah, you took yourself out.
Garlic fries are the ultimate cock block.
Justin, are there any stadium faux pas that you have? And the one that Chris had as an example is like wearing the jersey of a team that's not participating in the.
Oh yeah, sometimes that bothers me, and usually until you talk to that person and they're like, "Oh man, I'm from there. I traveled here to see a game, and like, I'm just repping my team." That I can see it goes both ways. It can be annoying. And again, good vibes. Not trying to like to dump on people who do this, especially depending on where you are in the ballpark. One that bothers me is adult men bringing gloves to the
I thought we were going there.
stadium. Like,
But what if it comes to you?
yeah, it won't.
It came to me once, and I thought I was going to have that moment where I'm like, this is it. I'm going to catch it. I instead chose to pretend I didn't see it, and it just went over my head, so somebody else had to deal with it. I wasn't.
Dude, yeah.
You don't want to be on a highlight reel of bloopers.
I'm not going to be the guy who drops this.
Yeah.
Faux pas. So this is at a sporting event as a fan, right?
Yeah, being there live. Yeah, truly being at the venue.
Man. Probably trying to start chants.
Yes.
Like if you're the guy that's trying to get the whole
Looking around.
Yeah. Because I take a sick pleasure in being like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Same here.
And I was like, oh, that's mortifying if I was that guy trying to like start a slow clap, right? And everybody's like,
Yeah.
Especially if it's not like a regular chant, like it's one you made up. You're not doing the like, let's go Mariners. Like, okay,
Yeah,
that's different.
yeah, you're not doing Seahawks. You're like, okay, if you're not on the cadence of team name, you're not gonna, you're gonna lose everybody.
Yeah, I think that. I mean,
It's too many syllables.
There's probably another one that we're gonna get to, but I think that the adults wearing the glove one is that one bugs me. Unless you're with your kid.
Yeah.
And there's a part of it where you're like, well, this is also like, A, I'm gonna protect my kid, or B, what if a player sees us and is like, oh, it's for your kid, and they're throwing it to you, which happens. That's common. Where the dad's like, hey, it's for, and like you can catch the ball.
Yeah.
Fine. You're an adult dude going there with just your bros, and you're carrying a glove around. I'm like, there's something going on. There's something else going on.
Yeah.
Like, you're weird.
Did you guys see the Shohei Ohtani home run earlier this year where, plenty of people were present to theoretically catch the ball, but nobody did, and it just drilled a kid right on the top of the head.
Oh, yeah. I did see
And
that.
it was like, of all the people to uncork one, too, like getting drilled. I mean, it's a home run. The guy got into the ball, but that's a Shohei.
It's Shohei.
dinger.
Yeah. That comes with
The kid was luckily fine. It was more like it kind of dropped on the top of the head, like a Jose Canseco type move. But my point is, I don't think that the glove's actually even going to bail a lot of these folks out. After I saw 20 hands go up and nothing protect the child.
Right.
Yeah. Dude, I have a Jose Canseco story. I'll be quick. We were kids. We went to San Francisco. It was what was Candlestick, and then when I was there, they changed the name to 3Com or something for like a short time.
Yep.
We went to watch the Giants play. I think it was the A's. I don't know why that we were there, but Jose Canseco must have been on the A's at the time. I don't know whoever Jose Canseco was playing for. I was probably 12. That would have been my sister was like 16. We're trying to get baseballs and running down. Jose Canseco saw my sister and did like one of these, like I'm gonna give you a ball, and then came down and was like, the way my sister describes it, like trying to get her information.
Oh.
And I remember at the time being like, dude, sick, that's Jose Canseco. And now as an adult, I'm like, whoa, what a creepy pervert.
Yeah.
And then I told that story to some other people that I know that work in the game, and they're like, yeah, that's one of many that I've heard like that.
Oh God!
Like,
So
this is a trend.
This is just how he lived his day-to-day life.
I don't think it's a secret. Yeah.
That sucks. I heard a similar story. I heard my buddy told me a story that he used to be an autograph chaser, and Jim Edmonds was there, I think, when he played for the Angels. So, coming to Seattle for a lot of games, and had his, mistress with him. So the kids are flagging him down as he's leaving with his, not wife, who then tells all the kids, like, beat it, we're going to dinner. And then Jim Edmonds, I think, felt big-timed by somebody else rejecting the autograph on his behalf. So then he actually he gave all the kids autographs only after his mistress told them to fuck off. Whatever, that switched something in his brain where he's like, I'm giving these kids autographs now.
Don't speak for me. Yeah, not doing that.
Jim Edmonds, Gold Glover, kind of a dick.
When I met Randy Johnson, he was not with his wife. I was like, why is this guy ducking out of the show? Yeah, that's why he asked for the seat in the corner in the back where it's dark.
Yeah, like it's easy to hide when you're 6'10".
Yeah,
you can't put on a ball cap.
He was really nice after we got a beer in him. I think I've told the story on the show before, so I won't get too far into it. But he was a dick at first, big time. So I was like, all right, well, that makes sense. And then he was really nice to me afterwards. I was like, that makes sense. I've heard both these things. I got the whole experience.
Just needed to get a little sauce.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot. Like, if the athletes we loved as kids, if social media was around when we were kids, would we still love them? Like, would we hear some things about them or see some things that we're like, maybe they're not my hero?
Yeah, I don't care for Brett Favre as much as I used to.
yeah. Well, social media did come around while he was still playing, so there was some things that happened.
He played long enough.
Yeah, he's caught with his pants down, so to speak.
So to speak.
Caught himself.
One way of explaining it.
All right, I've got my last sports question, and we'll finally move on. This is our Gucci or Greasy. The Wave.
The worst. Good, Greasy. The worst. There's nothing worse. Ban the Wave forever, unless you are up by 10 runs and it's the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs. Ban the Wave.
That's not necessary. It never needs to happen.
Oh my God, I hate the Wave so much.
It's so greasy.
I'm on the record for a long time hating the Wave.
It should be disallowed. You should be penalized.
We actually had a conversation, my buddies and I are in a Mariners group chat. We were talking about this last night, and we were trying to say, like, what we should do is do something that ruins the Wave for everyone. And we were like, how about we go down and sit like the Diamond Club of any stadium on TV and just do a 4 of us nonstop wave for the entire game. Just a nonstop wave. Just to like put it in people's heads how annoying this looks.
It's like kind of like making the nation smoke a full carton of cigarettes.
Yep. Or eat a whole carton of cigarettes. Like, what's worse?
Yeah.
And we're like, and we just want to just make the Wave the worst.
It drives me insane when I see like a close game and people are doing the Wave. It's like, what did you come here for? Did you come here for the game?
Oh, dude. And the players have talked about how much they don't enjoy it. Not all, but many have talked about how much they don't enjoy it, especially pitchers. So like, there's nothing worse than the game in a crucial point with a couple innings. It's the 7th inning. It's a 1-run game. Your team's down 1. There's 2 guys on base and 1 out. Let's start the Wave.
Yeah.
Like,
I came
tell
here
me
to
that
stand
you are
in
not
unison.
watching this game without telling me that you are not watching. And at the absolute worst time. And I've always said this: the second the home team starts the Wave is the second that something bad happens for the home team.
Yeah.
Like, are you happy? Did you like seeing that opposing home run? Did you like seeing that run score? Always believe the Wave.
Yeah, and you mentioned the
Greasy.
People starting the chants poorly, and I listened to the crowd and how many chants lack the rhythm. It's like, I can't trust you people to do the Wave. You can't drum for my band. You guys are terrible fucking timing.
The other one that I also really can't stand is, and this is more of a Yankees thing. Maybe it's a Red Sox thing, but I feel like Red Sox fans are generally not this. But I saw it last night with the Dodgers fans too, where they think every lazy fly ball is a home run. Like the gods, we're the Yankees. Of course that ball's gone.
Yeah,
like
everybody
that ball's
behind
supposed to be
home
gone.
plate stands up. Like,
yeah, and the crowd just loses their minds on a lazy fly ball to center field.
Yeah,
it's just like there's something, and I think it's because it's like this is just how entitled we are. Every ball's a home run here. because we're the Yankees,
Yeah.
and we should never lose a game ever.
Yeah, that also makes me think of, we were talking faux pas earlier, guys wearing like a Babe Ruth jersey. Like only Yankees fans will do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I suppose anybody that's got a legend like that in their history should celebrate that person, but also you didn't see him play. What are you talking about?
Oh, and then how do you feel about like teams or fans, I guess I shouldn't say teams, fans counting championships that they weren't alive for?
Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah. Like the,
Well, as a Packer fan, I'm going to have to give him a break.
You're gonna get,
We have 13 world championships.
you saw 2?
1.5. Kind of remember 96.
Okay.
yeah, exactly. I remember the celebration, but
Yeah.
like the Celtics are very much like that, where they've won 2 in my lifetime, but 18 rings, dude.
Right, and the Yankees 27 rings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when there were 9 teams in the
Okay.
league.
Yeah, how long has it been?
Yeah. Same with Niners fans.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit, Justin, about Pickles.
You're a pickle man.
Let's go.
Like pickles.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Nick shared with me the Best Pickle Instagram page that
Yeah,
you were
I
running for a
would
while.
love to get that back up. That was something that was like my pandemic pickle project.
Yeah.
I had been laid off and from the radio station I was working for at the time, and there's like 18 of us at once, and I was like, well, I gotta do something.
Yep.
And I had spent however many years, like well over a decade, 15 years, like making content, making videos, doing social media work, I should say. I should clarify that.
Yeah.
But it was always for the brand or something else, something that wasn't my thing.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I'm going to try to like, if I'm going to keep working in media or digital media some way, I should like keep the wheels greased. So I was like, well, I should keep making content, but I'm going to finally make something that I want, that I care about, that's just for me. And the whole goal was, I have been ordering expensive pickles from all over the world for so long. I'm like,
Really?
if I
This
can
is a true passion.
if I can like get some free pickles out of this, it's absolutely worth whatever it takes. So I started Best Pickle. Well, it started as Eat More Pickles was the name of the online show. The Instagram handle was Best Pickle because I was looking to find the world's best pickle, and just started making videos and like trying pickles that I thought were good or not good or whatever, and giving them a review and making a video and putting it out. And then I started getting tons of messages from pickle brands that were like, hey, want to send you stuff. I'm like, let's go. like goal number one,
exact
check,
thing.
dude.
Yeah.
Like free pickles. And got a lot of good ones, had some not so good ones, but that was like my thing. Before I started the job that I'm in now, I thought like, maybe I just try this. Maybe I see if I can just be like internet pickle guy.
Yeah.
And maybe there's space. Like maybe I can do it. Maybe I can work for myself and like work for anywhere.
What
and
are
eat
the
pickles.
traits of a good pickle for you?
It depends on the pickle, man. There's 2 different styles of pickles that I consider to be the taproot, as it were, of what pickles are. There are live pickles and there are dead pickles. Dead pickles are like the kinds of pickles you get on the shelf that are room temp, that are, those are cured in vinegar.
Yep.
And then there are living pickles, which are like the live ferment, the probiotic, the ones that are actually good for you. Like those are typically, they have to be refrigerated, but
right.
don't let that fool you. Like Claussens are not probiotic pickles. So it's like the Bubbies, like the Jewish deli style pickle. Those are fermented, and you'll know because the brine is cloudy because it's like alive, like kimchi or sauerkraut, or kombucha or something like that.
Yep.
So for a really really good vinegar, like cured shelf stable pickle, I go for like really tangy. I want like a super full sour, really strong vinegar bite, because you can't really do a half sour because it's not going to work because you don't have enough vinegar for
How
that.
crunchy?
For sure. Like crunch is absolutely like the number one characteristic. Like if it's soft, it's like, it's too bad. It's still gonna taste good, but like that's not part of the, it's like drinking a sort of a flat beer. It's like, man, it's still beer, I guess, but like it doesn't have the first quality is a fizzy beer.
Yeah.
Or a cold beer, I guess in that case. And then for the fermented pickles, there's like because the flavor changes on them so quickly depending on how long that you've been fermenting. So getting them at the exact right spot of their ferment, which most brands that do this do it well, where they crash the ferment right away at the exact right time by putting them in the refrigerator, because that stops the whole process of fermentation. But the best ones that I can say locally, at least for, and you maybe can get them all over now, at least order them, are Brits pickles. And those are like Brits. Yeah, Brits from In Foods. They used to be in the Pike Place Market. Now they're on Whidbey Island, but you can still get them kind of everywhere. And they're at PCC, I think, and some other stores in the city. But they now sell them in bags. They used to be in glass jars, of course. But the pandemic killed a lot of these. I don't say killed the glass jar industry, because that's not true. But like it became harder for them to get them.
Right.
So I started putting them in bags. And I'm obsessed with Brits. Obsessed.
I'm sold.
And they're fermented like in oak barrels. Like they're old world style, and they're so good. And I'm very, very into them.
Nice.
Yeah. So sorry, your answer was like, what makes a good pickle?
I love the passion. That's what I'm most interested in. Yeah. How deep does this go? Because my mom loves pickles. Mm-hmm. She like drinks the fucking. Pickle
I drink the brine.
juice.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Oh, I love
that.
That
is nuts.
Do you not like picklebacks?
What?
Pickleback? Like
you never had
a
a pickleback?
little Irish whiskey and.
No, that's a lot. That's a lot.
I love a pickleback.
I love that you love it, but to me that's a lot.
Yeah, that's fine. More for me. But I'm obsessed, man. And I have a pickle on my tattoo on my leg of Danny DeVito as a pickle.
Oh, you were really close to.
I thought about it.
Yeah. Danny DeVito as a pickle. That's incredible.
Yeah. I call him Dilly DeVito. And
brilliant.
Yeah. I'm obsessed. I love them. And I would still to this day, like there will be a time in my life where I'm like, I'm gonna go all in on pickles. I'm gonna sell everything I own. I'm gonna open a pickle cart or something. Yeah.
Is there anything you love that much, Cole?
I don't think so. Not that I actually feel like I, know anything about, I love playing my records food wise, but no, not anything I feel like I've developed, an actual critical taste for.
Not a sweet pickle guy. That's not my thing.
That is awesome that you, that was the only other pickle question I had was whether sweet pickles are acceptable because
there's a space for them. People like them, but like the bread and butter style pickle, like it's like a Depression era thing. And
oh really?
I'm like, I could be getting this history all wrong, but like the way it was taught to me, or maybe I read somewhere, was they were cured as they did, in the time before refrigeration, so you could store things and have them in the winter when you weren't able to grow vegetables, and they did them with mustard and onion and some other like coriander seeds and things that went into what made sweet pickles sweet, obviously sugar. And you would eat pickles on bread, and it would be like that was a sandwich. It was like a bread and butter sandwich. So that was the way that I remember learning about them.
Okay,
that is depressing.
It's depressing, and they're not for me. Sweet pickles are not.
I like a spicy pickle.
Yeah, me too.
Set my tongue on fire.
Yeah, there's one I used to get out of Pennsylvania. It's a brand called Epic Pickles, and they made a Reaper dill.
Oh,
and
man.
Brutal. There's also another one of fermented pickle out of Portland. The brand's called The Good Pickle, and they donate some of their portions or sales to, I think it was like kitchens that support minority neighborhoods and where they can go prep their food for food trucks and things like that.
Oh, cool.
I may be getting that wrong, and I apologize. But they had two really, really spicy pickles that are probably the hottest things I've ever put in my body. And,
that's impressive.
I love spicy pickles.
I love spicy food a lot. I have 20 hot sauces in my fridge. I never think of a pickle being the thing that would.
Yeah.
Because I've harmed myself.
Well.
I know
it's
now that
I'm
like thinking
Nashville
about it.
Hot chicken sandwich. Just a little extra temp. Ooh.
Yeah, and see, normally they put like sweets on those. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna hurt myself, make it hotter.
Yeah.
I'm not done.
Yeah. I expect to sweat through this shirt.
Yeah, I expect to like not maybe make it through eating it.
Yeah. You might have to call an ambulance. Have you gotten involved with the Portland pickles?
I have. So once upon a time, and I will still do this. And this was in 2019. I was meeting with the city of Seattle and a guy named Chris Coburn who owns a Seattle Pickle Company, and we were going to produce Seattle Pickle Festival. And we had, we'd gone and done the meetings with the city and met with, police and fire and garbage and all the things you have to do to put on a street festival. And then COVID, our last meeting was February 28th, 2020.
Oh, damn.
I was like, well, this isn't happening. And then there was a whole thing about like can't have food tastings during, once they started to reopen, they still weren't allowing that because of the contaminations. So I had reached out to the Portland Pickles, and they're like, we're in. Like, we will be there for that. And then
That's awesome.
And I've gone to a couple games. John Ryan, speaking of, is one of the owners of the team. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, John Ryan, I think,
That's
is the
awesome.
owner of the team. If
Oh,
not
no
one
shit.
Of. Yeah.
Eternal good guy. Of course
Terrific.
he is.
Terrific.
So
dude.
annoying.
I know it.
Hurt me
Know
so
it.
bad, and he's such a good guy. It's
He
the
is such a
worst.
good dude. So he and his wife's a comedian. You know that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. Okay. So we went to a game last year. It was a blast. I've been to a few, and they just do it right, man. Independent baseball is like kind of having a moment right now, and I'm a big fan of them, and I'm glad that they just lean into the weird.
Yeah, I love
Like
that.
they fill a very specific niche that I think baseball needs, and I love it.
Yeah, Savannah Bananas. Bring
Yeah.
some folks in.
Bananas are great.
Doing some silly stuff. Okay, Justin, I've got a couple questions for you about Soldiers of Destiny Scooter Club.
Let's go.
Can you tell us a little bit at a high level what the Scooter Club
Yeah,
is?
30,000-foot view of the Scooter Club. We started when we were like 20, 21 years old. And it was a couple guys that lived in Bellingham
Nice.
who were in our club, who were the original members. And they owned a hookah bar up there. And they were going to school up there. And they needed a way to, get to class and home and whatever without having their cars. And this is also like during the most expensive gas crisis at the time.
Yep.
So everybody was buying these cheap like Chinese scooters, and we were like, "Wow, these are fun. This is like riding bikes as a kid, dude. We should all get these." And like you would let one friend ride it, and be like, "Yeah, I'm buying one." And then one other friend would buy it, and it's like, "Yeah, I'm buying one." And pretty soon there's 10 of us.
Yeah.
And we're like, "We should do it. We should start a gang." And we should be like a benevolent scooter gang. We should do good things instead of like we're like the 99%ers of motorcycle clubs. So we started like some charity events that we were doing, and it just grew and grew, and we ended up making a documentary. We shipped our scooters. This was in 2016. We shipped our scooters over to the East Coast to Fernandina Beach, Florida, which is outside of Jacksonville, and rode back roads all the way across America back to Seattle.
Oh, wow.
And made a documentary out of it. It's called
Did
Slow.
you need extra scooters? They really made it the whole
We
way?
had one that blew up, and we fortunately had an extra. We just sort of
One's
swapped
not bad.
parts.
Yeah,
I can't believe it. Shout out to the Yamaha Zuma 125, the greatest scooter
Wow.
on the planet.
That's crazy.
Nick Kirshner, he would also agree with us, and so
Yep.
so Jake Fritz. We blew one of them up, and the guy crashed, and he didn't go hit the ground, but like he went in the ditch, and it's a whole part of the movie. But yeah, we made it. Spoiler alert! Like we made it to the finish line.
Very cool.
And did it in 11 days. It was like 3,800 miles. We were doing like 12 to 16-hour days, depending on the day, and saw the
Goodness.
whole country, man.
That's wild.
It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
So it started as like a this is fun, this is funny, and then turned into like, oh, we actually really love doing this. And we were trying to do some charitable stuff on the side. And then it was also just as we got older, it was like an excuse to still hang out with your buddies. Like we had a thing, right? Like some guys have fantasy football, some guys play pickup basketball, some guys have whatever, like you name it, like whiskey clubs or something.
Right.
This was our thing, and it's continued. We still do it. Like we just rode up to
Nice.
Bellingham a couple weekends ago. We rode across Morocco last January, which was
That's
a whole
awesome.
thing. And then we're riding around Ireland next year.
Oh, cool.
That's awesome.
It's just a blast,
Hell yeah.
man. And like
Yeah.
we don't get around to see each other as much as we did when we were in our 20s, but like guys get married, grow up, buy houses, have kids, become adults. Some of us don't,
Yeah.
and that's okay too. But that's the 30,000-foot view.
Awesome. Ireland will be beautiful. That's my only international travel so far was there, and it was
Yeah.
a
I've never
great
been.
time. And we drove around the whole island, so we did get to see,
I'll have to take some notes from you then.
Yeah.
But one of the guy that's like, organizing the whole thing's from Dublin, so he's kind of setting the most of it up.
Oh,
But-
nice. Yeah, and that's where you'll fly into for
Yeah.
sure. And then we went to 6 different cities. It's a great time. Yeah, I'll share more off the podcast.
Yeah,
but
no, I'm excited.
Isn't
Thank
the
you.
oldest bar in the world in Ireland?
I believe that. I think it is. I think I
Yeah,
just saw
it's
this
like
on
a-
Instagram
yeah.
recently.
It's like 11th century or something like that, like 1086. Like I didn't even know liquor was that old.
Yeah, that's the craziest part about traveling when you go somewhere that's that old and like you sit on like benches that are older than America.
Yeah.
And you're
Right.
like, dude,
When I was in Italy, we drove past this building, and they said it's the oldest building standing in its entirety in the world. And I believe, I might be wrong, I believe they said 9,000 BC. And I was like, what
crazy.
what was going on BC?
what
BC?
engineer
The
figured
invention
that
of
out?
Madness. Yeah, that's crazy. I also heard recently that the invention of beer predates the invention of the wheel,
I mean,
which is pretty funny.
Yeah,
that's
That's
makes
pretty
sense.
cool.
Probably you invent the wheel so you can move your beer around.
I mean, fermentation's
figure out a
been
way to get
around for a
home.
while, so that does make sense.
Yeah. Were there any, or I did want to ask, best food you've encountered while traveling with the scooter club?
best food.
That's not a pickle.
Yeah, that's not. That's good. Thank you for clarifying. I may just have to go recency bias into Morocco. We like tagines are the thing over there, and they're like clay pots where they like slow cook for a long time, and it's just delicious. But like the first few days, you're like, this is so good. And then everywhere you go, it's like, oh no, it's just tagine again. And, like, a lot. Like we just had this a lot. But they're so delicious. And like when I left, I remember thinking like, okay, I'm good on tagine. And it took about a week. I'm like, okay, I definitely want all that again. Because it's just spices that you don't really get. And like you go to Marrakesh in Morocco, there's like the spice market that you see, and the spices you've never heard of, and like flavors that you've never experienced. And I think that would probably have to be my answer then.
Very
just
cool.
One of, like they're interesting tagine dishes.
Yeah, I had a similar experience, and we were at a wedding in Mexico, and I was like, this food's amazing. And then after 4 days, you're like, this is a lot of Mexican food.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, and like that's the other part of it, like you don't realize is like you're introducing a lot of interesting like gut biome that your body's not used to processing.
Yeah.
And, like, how's this gonna
You shit
work?
yourself.
I didn't. A lot of guys got sick. A lot of guys got sick, and it was mostly about the water, I think.
Oh yeah,
But
that's fair.
because
That will happen.
again, it's the water's not bad. It's just you've never had it, so like, it takes you a while to.
Yeah.
Unlike some
Adapt.
places where they're actually contaminated, this one wasn't. It was just different.
Yeah,
So we
for
brought
sure.
the life straws, and you're always drinking bottled water and whatever. But Morocco's a cool place and really, really difficult. Like if you're gonna go, I strongly recommend it. Do it, but like learn some French because you're not gonna learn any Arabic, and the Arabic is like so dialect based in the wherever you go in the country that you're not gonna learn it. Just learn some French. And you
Good
can
to know.
limp your way through it. Yeah.
Good to know. All right, we are coming to a close here. We have got a few this week in history questions I wanted to ask, and then we'll wrap it up. So, just an excuse to ask more silly questions, but history driven. So, August 16th, 1930, the first color sound cartoon Fiddlesticks is released. What is your all-time favorite cartoon? Justin, we'll start with you. Or if you need a second, we can start with Chris.
Probably Rugrats.
Ooh, strong
That's a
choice.
great answer.
You can hear the theme song.
Oh, for sure.
Like
Klasky
you
Supo.
know that it was good. As an adult, then probably like Rick and Morty or something. But like
Rick
as a
and Morty's so
kid,
good.
I think I have to. Rugrats is too strong to ignore.
Yeah, that's very good.
That's a good answer. Damn it.
I think I know mine.
Mine, I have to say SpongeBob because I still enjoy watching it. Like I'll put it on for Kendall. It's for me.
Yeah,
But yeah, you know.
I mean the writers know.
Yeah, SpongeBob is
Yeah.
good. I loved Rocko's Modern Life.
Yeah, same with
Angry
the theme song, too.
Beavers. Rugrats is a great answer though. I think in terms of hours I've spent watching cartoons, Rugrats is right behind SpongeBob. So
Yeah,
great answer.
for me, I'd go Ed, Ed, and Eddie. I was
Oh
a car-
damn it!
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah.
Cartoon Network kid. So
Outstanding.
Good shout.
answer.
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy. Yeah,
Great
Oh,
show.
Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, there's
Ed,
some,
Ed and Eddie was so good.
it was.
yeah,
It was.
some. These are some strong answers, folks. I'm just going to keep this moving since we're low on time. August 20th, 1858, Charles Darwin publishes his theory of evolution through natural selection in this periodical.
Allegedly.
So they say. What evolutionary trait would you most like humans to develop? This is a...
Ooh, breathing underwater because eventually we're
Ooh.
gonna all have to be. Water world is happening.
Yeah,
You're
and
going to
breathing
need those
plastics.
Kevin Costner gills for sure.
Yeah, that's yeah. Oh yeah, processing plastic would be
Yeah.
a good. That's a good answer.
Yeah, well, piggybacking on his processing all the plastic.
Being
in
able
that
to,
water. I would tell you one thing. Because I have so much. Could we do away with the body hair? That's just it's unnecessary. It's prevented me from
Yeah.
so many good times. I sweat a lot. I think that's part of it. Also, maybe I just sweat a lot.
For similar reasons, Justin saying we need gills. You know, I think with the heat of the planet, you don't need as
Yeah, you
much
don't need
body
the
hair.
sweater.
Yeah. I don't think this is
You'd think
necessary.
it would
Body
just-
hair was like just because it retained scent, and it was the way the evolutionary way of like, oh, this is where I.
How much do you
live.
need? This is excessive. It's inappropriate. It's too much.
Yeah.
All my thing was it's got to be something with their eyes. Well, how are the eyes are just really not bothered at all about getting better. I think it's because we wear glasses and stuff. We're not really
True.
I mean,
I got
maybe
a
it also.
crutch for them. Yeah.
Yeah. How do I not have night vision yet? This is stupid. I have to put on goggles.
I do think that the eyes are the one part of your body that your brain basically has to remind itself that it's part of your body. Like it doesn't view your eyes as part of the whole network.
Yeah.
And so it has to tell itself, don't eat these. Your brain tells itself not to eat your own eyeballs. I don't know if that's exactly the medical
Good
definition
thing.
of
Good
how
thing.
it
They're pretty good
works.
looking.
I'm gonna go with it.
All right, I've got my last This Week in History question, and we will wrap up. August 22nd, 2007, the Texas Rangers defeat the Baltimore Orioles 30-3, the most runs scored by a team in modern Major League Baseball history. What is the most brutal ass-kicking you've ever witnessed in sports?
At all or in person?
You could do either. I was going to just do at all because I have luckily not been in person for 2 minutes. I mean, I guess I've been at,
Yeah.
I was at a Mariners game this year where we lost to the A's like 8-1 and that
yeah.
sucked, but that doesn't,
I watched a pretty bad Mariners-Twins game in Minneapolis where the Twins scored a ton of runs. And I remember being like, this is funny. I think the best ass-kicking I've ever seen, Seahawks beating the Broncos in the Super Bowl. That was an ass-kicking.
That's the
Yeah.
positive
on
end
the
of it.
biggest stage that there could possibly be.
Yeah.
Like that was Broncos fans are embarrassed and this sucked.
Yeah.
Right? And players are embarrassed. So I think that is the ultimate ass kicking that I've
Yeah,
witnessed.
that's probably got to be it. I watched the Bucks lose to the Bulls in the playoffs by 56.
Whoo! Yeah. That's wild for
But,
a playoff game.
Oh, I was gonna say playoffs. Okay, because Super Bowl playoffs, same thing. There comes a point when you're getting beat so badly that you just sort of roll over and die. But you can't in a playoff game or a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that just means either that team is that on that day, or you're just not good.
Yeah, or both.
Yeah.
It was definitely both. Those Bucks teams were bad.
And I think that the Hawks Broncos game entering halftime was something like 16-0 or something like that, or maybe it was more, but I just distinctly remember the Percy Harvin return where it was like
It's over.
any sense of because after halftime, of course, anything can happen. Bigger leads had technically been overcome in at least any game, but then when the kick return happened,
It also felt like the Seahawks were like clicking, but like the scoreboard wasn't really reflecting it yet.
Yeah.
And then when that happened, it was like floodgates.
Oh, it's
It
nuts
was
kicking.
just-
That was
was
a good
nuts.
old fashioned,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
brutal.
Yeah.
that's
and especially in
That's a
the
good one.
modern era of the game.
That was by far the worst Super Bowl I've ever seen. Oh, I don't know. What was that? Wasn't there one that was like 13-3 or something? Fairly
the
recently?
Rams Patriots.
pretty bad.
Yeah, that was stinky.
But I don't know. At least that was close.
You had a reason to watch in the fourth quarter
Yeah.
as a non-fan of a team,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
I think those are the best. I don't think I have a better answer than that, but I will say just one that comes to mind that's very random is like watching Huskies football during the Sarkisian years where they played LSU when LSU was at like the height of its powers.
Oh yeah.
And we lost like 45-3 and just nothing positive
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
The entire and I don't even know why I did this because I'm very guilty of like game gets out of hand and I'm like, I'm not watching this. I'm not deriving pleasure out of this. I'm not trying to be fair weather.
You
but
don't
this
punish
is-
yourself? I do
You're not
that.
a sicko?
I do
for
that
s-
with the Packers. I'm like, I'm going to watch every second of this.
I did that to myself with that. I was like, I just have to see how much better LSU is, and at the end, I was
A lot.
convinced.
A lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. It means more than the SEC.
Uh,
Dude, thank you
think
guys for doing this.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thanks
joining
coming
us,
on, man. We'll have to have you back, and I want to get Alyssa Charleston and you in the same room.
I've met her.
and
Oh,
I would
nice.
love to.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a really fun.
Yeah,
podcast.
she's awesome.
She's great.
She's good people.
She's been on here a couple times.
So we're gonna wrap it up. Where can people connect with you if you want them to?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have anything you'd like to promote?
I mean, I'm at the ballpark a lot. I'm the in-stadium host of the Mariners, so I do a lot of that. But social, on-air, Justin, on everything.
Very cool. Awesome.
Sweet.
Thank you again for doing the show with us.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, all you guys, obviously, thanks for listening, watching, however you're taking this in. You can find us TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the places. One last time, one last round of applause for Justin.
Oh,
And,
time to join. Thank you.
and thanks for listening. Jordan, love you all. Bucks and Six.